Hi, welcome into this episode of the Peace and Love podcast. I'm your host, Siva like the river, if you're new here. And I'm kind of sat in a funny position because my cat can just sense when I'm setting up for a podcast, and then he wants to sit in my chair and craves all this extra attention. So if there's ruckus, if there's, what do you call it, like devious energy going on, it's him trying to play while I'm trying to work. He kind of feels me getting with the program. Maybe he'll pop up here and say hi. Anyways, today I wanted to talk about something very specific when it comes to your self-love journey. I want to give you a lot of value. Recently on the podcast, we've been giving a lot of value out on the free. So definitely hit that subscribe and check out my other videos. Last week was a really good high value episode as well, but I'm keeping it coming for you. So this week, I want to talk about the highest forms of self-love that you can give to yourself and how that is going to translate to you actually creating more self-love in your life. How you aren't going to wait any longer to start experiencing self-love. You're not going to wait until the day that you're perfect. You're not going to wait until you sign on to my program to feel the love. No, you're going to start feeling that self-love as soon as you integrate this information. And by the way, if you are ready to really deep dive into self-love and really see yourself and experience your self-love at a deep soul level beyond how you look, how you feel about outside circumstances, and feel worthy every single day when you're showing up in your life. And speaking of, if you are ready to spend 12 weeks doing a deep dive into your self-love, really putting yourself first, prioritizing yourself, because you know it is going to bring that life-changing freaking energy. You want to be worthy regardless of how you look. You want to feel that worth and bring that to every single area of your life. So no matter how you look, no matter how you feel, no matter what outside circumstances are, you are showing up, being your badass self, talking to people that you want to talk to, attracting them and you want to attract, and being the it girl that you know that you are meant to be. You're done dulling your shine, and you want to love yourself from the inside out and be this magnetic badass woman. Hit me up and let's get into your self-love journey and really get into these processes that are going to help you peel back the layers on what is going on. You're going to find out, okay, what is really holding me back from experiencing the self-love and finally feeling that I am good enough. I am good enough for the exact income I want, the exact partner I want, the exact experiences I want. Not only are you going to figure out why you've been missing a piece, but you're going to start to bridge that energetic gap. You're going to start coming from the version of yourself that feels worthy regardless of the clothes that you're wearing, the makeup that you have on, what someone else's opinion is. You're going to start showing up as that badass version of yourself and feel at an identity level that I am good enough, I am worthy. And that is something that no one will be able to take away from you. And you're going to get a little sample of that today. But if you're ready for the real deal thing, contact me, DM me the word love, and we can see if you're a good fit for this program. See, I hope you can see him in frame, but if you're watching, look who came to join us. The cat who loves to be in podcast episodes. This is our silent guest. So like I promised at the beginning, I want to share with you all some of the highest forms of self-love that you can give yourself. And it's simpler than you think. So some of the highest forms of self-love is simply giving yourself time, space, and attention. Giving yourself that validation that you want from outside sources, giving yourself that attention, that energy that you might have wanted from outside sources. And we can kind of get into, well, why did this happen in the first place? Why am I feeling like I want this anyways? And the answer is everybody wants it, because when we are little, it's literally a matter of life or death if you get attention or if you don't, to put it simply. If your mom doesn't pay attention to you, you will die because she's not going to feed you. If your parents don't give you that love and approval, not only is that a survival issue, but it is a thrival issue. You feel really bad. You feel cold. You feel not good. whenever your parents disapprove of you, when things aren't going well, because at a subconscious level, that threatens your survival. If the tribe doesn't like you, they're going to kick you out. You're going to starve. You're going to die. And so really what this is all goes back to is regulating your nervous system to know, even when other people don't like me, even when my own parents disapprove of me, I am safe. And being your own guide and teaching your subconscious, teaching your nervous system that I am safe, I am worthy, no matter what. I don't have to conform to every little thing that's going on out there to be loved and safe in here. What ends up happening is when most people are building their ego, when they're building themselves, they're growing up, their personality is like a Mod Podge collage of everything that has ever gotten them approval. You learn in middle school, okay, I get bullied if I wear this thing. Never wear this thing again. Crowd hated when I said this thing. Never say that thing again. And people actually take it that far. I've told a story on here about the woman who quit singing out loud because her ex-husband said, hey, I think you're a terrible singer. And maybe you have an example like that in your own life. I know I sure did in middle school. Like, I got so much shit for wearing like a 21 Pilots jacket, oh, cringy. And at that time, I was getting a lot of SHIT from different people for different reasons. And it definitely kind of shaped that ego growth and kind of the personality I became and stepped into. Okay, I don't get approval if I listen to this type of music. I do get approval and I get included in the group when I listen to this type of music. And so I'm sure you have experiences from your own life where you had maybe a traumatic experience. Okay, I got bullied really bad, or I got embarrassed really bad because I did this one thing, and now I don't do it again, or I left that part of my personality behind. And on the other hand, we start to put in the things in our personality and embody the things that get us attention and approval. That can be a good thing and a bad thing. If it's not authentic to you, it's probably not going to help you in the long run. And sometimes people put things in their personality that don't actually serve them. Sometimes people learn, okay, I have to play this role, maybe of being sick to get attention. Maybe I have to wear really not a lot of clothes to get a lot of attention. Maybe I have to do things I'm not necessarily comfortable doing in order to get approval, in order to get attention and be safe. And so what you're really doing is going in and picking these things apart. Who am I really? What am I really about? What's authentic to me? And when you are living that authentic version of yourself, life feels so much better in itself. If everyone was just authentic to who they are, we probably would have no problems because everyone's doing their own thing. And when you're authentic, you're not really worried about someone else's thing. You're doing your own thing and you feel good, you feel relaxed. Part of the perk of just being authentic is how good it feels. I mean, when you are wearing a mask and doing things for approval, you're wasting a lot of energy trying to keep up an act. And at the end of the day, you might feel super tired just because you're not living the way that you really in your soul feel like expressing yourself. When you are in full alignment with yourself, full self-expression, perfect self-expression, you feel incredible. At the beginning of the day, you wake up excited. I get to express myself in the exact way I want to express myself today. And it feels enjoyable just being yourself, having conversations with people because you are saying things that, you're fully in alignment with. You are being the person that you want to be, and that feels really energizing. And when you are living for approval, it is challenging and everything feels quite stressful. This week I shared on socials, when I was in my not so much self-love part of my life, I would spend so long getting ready. Like, I would almost dread invitations to hang out with people because I'm like, well, what do I wear? Like that would be my first thought at an invitation. Instead of, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, that sounds so much fun, it'd be like, shit, what am I going to wear to that? And so I would spend hours getting ready. I would put on an outfit, take off that outfit, throw it down, put on a different outfit, hate it. And then I would probably do that 5 or 6 times. At the end of the deal, my room was a complete mess. At this time, my room was never clean. I could not physically keep it clean because every single day, probably 3 times a day, I was going through this routine of trying on 6 different outfits and throwing them all on my floor. And so it was impossible to keep my room clean. By the time I was ready to go, maybe I even put on the same outfit I had on in the first place, but by the time I was ready to go, I was so nitpicky on every little part of my body, so tense, so freaked out, and so in my head that how could I possibly go out and have a good time with friends? I really couldn't. And so part of what I want to get into today is how can you start to feel good so that you feel good? You're never going to feel good from a method that makes you feel bad. I'm never going to feel good from overanalyzing and trying to find the perfect outfit. Up here, logically in your mind, that makes sense. But in actuality, if that puts you into this negative energy, this frictionful and challenging energy, that is not going to seed and create good results. That's the number one thing that's going to change your self-love experience today. Nothing good is going to come from feeling bad. No method of feeling better that makes you feel bad is going to help you actually feel better. So that actually ties into what I'm saying. The highest forms of self-love is giving yourself time, space, and attention. And so I want to have you think about this just for a quick second. No need to pause or anything, unless you really want to get into it. I want you to think about how different your life would be if every time you felt a little stress, maybe you had some self-doubt come up, maybe you're irritated by somebody, maybe you are just feeling upset at the day, maybe you just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I want you to think about if instead of going with the thoughts, oh, I've got to get on to this next thing, or, there's no time to hang out, and, I have so much to do, and, just, I need to go focus on this, and whatever. Instead of just carrying on with your life and taking that energy with you for the rest of your day, and to your work, and into your relationships, and into your relationship with yourself, I want you to pause and think, what would life look like if when those moments came up, I hit a pause button and I said, okay, before I go on and do the next thing, I'm going to take this time and I'm going to figure out how to relax and recharge myself and feel better and create a positive energy to start to come from. How different would your life look like if you were able to do this? How different would your days driving to work look like? Your days at work even? Your relationships with your significant other or dating even, or your relationships with your friend or family, the rest of your day. How would you feel going into bed at night instead of having all of these things looming over your head from the day, but actually feeling, okay, you know what? I feel relaxed about everything. And so that is the main point that I'm going to break down to you today. How you can give yourself one of the highest forms of self-love, which is really it hits all 3 of those categories: time, space, and attention. How you can do that for yourself by taking yourself out of that negative feeling. And so what I want you to know is you cannot feel good until you feel good. Let me say that again. You cannot feel good until you feel good. That example with me trying to get better clothing is a great example. A lot of times we think, okay, if we fix something, once it's perfect, once it's completely corrected, then we'll feel good. Once I lost the weight, I will feel good. Once I make this amount of money, then I will feel good. And if you've ever had a big goal like that you've accomplished, you know that it's a fucking lie, because 9 times out of 10 you hit that goal and then you're like, okay, on to the next thing I need to fix. And so taking it to that example, it's like, okay, once I get this outfit together, then I will feel good. And the problem is that never came because I never felt good. And until I learned, okay, how can I feel good in the moment when I'm getting ready, when I'm getting dressed, how can I feel good about this? I was never able to feel good. So there's a huge difference between a growth mindset of, okay, I want to be better and be the best version of myself, simply to be the best version of myself, and to grow for the sake of growth and to enjoy the process for the sake of enjoying the process, versus a nothing is ever good enough, never will be good enough mindset. And I think a lot of times, like I even got them confused in the past. Okay, a growth mindset, that's great, but it's not the same thing as the nothing is ever good enough mindset. The nothing is ever good enough mindset can look a lot of times like that growth mindset. It's like a lot of times, once you hit that income goal, it's on to the next income goal. Once you lost that amount of weight, it's on to the next health thing. Once you've done this, it's always something else. And you can tell that this is true because you're still self-improving. After, like, think about a year ago, the problems that you were having maybe 1 or 2 years ago, you probably don't have the same problems, or at least not the same level, but most likely you are still feeling the same feelings unless you've done some deep internal work. It's like there was a story of this family, and they didn't have a lot of money. They were always worrying about this money and how we're going to get the money and la 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 la. And finally the family had this like massive I don't know exactly what happened. They had a great experience. They struck like oil, something very big. And all of a sudden they were financially free, like beyond their wildest comprehensions. And then one of them had a heart attack and just passed away. And so the family then started obsessing and worrying about health. And, okay, we need to do all these things for health, and we can't leave the house, and we can't, do anything besides be in the bed because we need to make sure of our health. So all of that anxiety, all of that fear around money, it never went away. It just transferred into something else. And so when you play the fix-it game, okay, what can we fix? Let's fix it. I like that. When you play the fix-it game, you're just fixing problems without ever getting to the root. And the root is really how you feel about something. And so today I'm going to address when you're feeling upset about something, let's get to the root of it, and let's have you be able to fix something at the root so that you're not just being Mr. Fix-It and just creating problems subconsciously to solve, so that you have something to express that feeling with. The whole point of problems is so that you get the opportunity to bring up this subconscious, this trapped emotion within you. And if you never take the opportunity to address the trapped emotion, you're going to keep creating problems that give you that opportunity to process things. So it's important that you know how to process, unless you want to be doing the same thing over and over and over. Now, I actually am going to have a whole entire module on this on my one-on-one or membership program. When you get my access to my content bank, you're going to have all of the resources necessary to process something. But for today, I just want to stick with one example. So let's take this scenario. You notice you are feeling self-doubt about your work, maybe about your body, maybe about a relationship. In this moment, if you can catch it, this takes a lot of self-awareness and a lot of time to be able to catch it, that you're not feeling good. But I want you to notice, okay, I'm not feeling good. Like, some people literally get cut off in traffic, they get upset, and it ruins their entire day. So what I want you to do instead is notice, okay, I am not feeling good for whatever reason, and say it is so worth the time in the space for me to feel better and go do something else. For me to start to feel better energetically so that I can feel better in the rest of the day. So what I want you to do is take some time out. Whether it is 1 minute, whether it is 5 minutes, whether it is 10 minutes, it really doesn't matter. And for me personally, I don't care. If it takes an hour for me to feel better, then it takes an hour for me to feel better. 5 hours, 3 hours. I've literally sat with things for hours and hours until I feel better, and I'm not gonna abandon myself during that process, because it's important for me to be able to sit with this because it's coming up. And so I wouldn't focus so much on the time, but the exact result that you're having in your life. So you notice you're not feeling great. You take the time to go sit aside. And what I want you to do is simply sit with what you're experiencing. And now I'll give exact details on how to do that in my one-on-one program. What's more important is that you find a way to somehow raise your energy. And so maybe right now, you make a list of things that excite you. What is going to increase your mood? What is going to relax you? What is going to calm you down? Maybe you make 2 lists. What are the things that calm me down? Maybe breathing, maybe listening to a frequency, maybe praying, maybe listening to a song, maybe whatever else calms you down, drinking some tea. Then a second list. what energizes me, what excites me, what thrills me. Maybe that's dancing to music. Maybe that is laughing. Maybe you have a favorite comedian. Maybe that is writing your own thing. Maybe writing your own jokes, writing your own experience of life, writing it down, visualizing something. Maybe it is simply doing some type of yoga. Maybe it is like talking or sending a message to a friend. And things that actually, like, you do it and you feel better afterwards. Like, oh my gosh, that made me feel better. Maybe it's something in your imagination. You imagine like pouring hearts onto yourself, or maybe it's just simply sitting with your hand on your head, which really feels good if you want to try that one out for yourself. But whatever the case may be for you, when those things come up, you have that list. And this list is going to be the power of how to change your life, how to live your life's purpose, how to create your own incredible reality. Because you've learned you can only feel good until you feel good. So this gives you the opportunity to feel good and start to come from that. Can you imagine, who would you want to connect with more? You are out and you're seeing a girl walking, and you could tell she's been kind of irritated about something that day, and she's just like going through the motions, and maybe she has some self-doubt on her, and you can kind of see that. Versus, imagine seeing a girl walking. Maybe she's literally skipping or like kind of dancing when she walks. She's really feeling the moment. She's got a big smile on her face. You could tell, like, she just feels good right now. You're almost like fascinated, like what's so good that she's just like feeling that great. Who is more attractive? Who do you want to talk to? Who would you want to be friends with? Which one would you want to date? If you were a really big opportunity, who are you more attracted to? Who feels like they would attract more opportunities? Who feels like they would get more attention? Who feels like they have more love in their life? And so if you want to be the person that has the opportunities, the magnetism, the attraction, the it girl, you have to start showing up and being that person. And until you feel good, it's not going to be possible to show up as that person. If you're telling me, Siva, I'm sure this isn't you, but like, Siva, I'm so depressed I can't get out of bed. How are you going to be able to feel like good and go outside and do all of those things? You're not. And so it has to start with you. You have to know how to push your own buttons to make yourself feel good, because you can't feel good until you feel good. And so when you start feeling good from the inside out, not using any external validation. This has nothing to do with external validation. This is all you sitting with yourself creating it. You're doing this without external substances, relying on a good circumstance at work, a good paycheck, a good outfit. You're doing this without needing help from anyone even. Of course, I gave you the exercise, but the point is to empower you for the rest of your life. Once you got this on your own, you've got this. So when you can start creating your good mood from nothing, that's when you have it made. Because when you are that person that feels good, the opportunities come, the people come, your purpose comes. Everything that you need to line up for you comes, because when you are in love with yourself, those things flow into you magnetically. If you love yourself, everything loves you. So this is what I want to just leave you with, is that exercise. And I don't want you to just take my word for it. Please apply it to your life, try it out, and let me know all the incredible things that comes from that. Because your energy is more important than you trying to control and fix everything. Your energy, your internal world, is what is creating your external experiences because of your beliefs, your perception. And so when you start to feel good, you just notice everything that is good already. And so you can start to live a life that feels good to you, but only because you turned on that feel good energy. So try this out and let me know what happens, what works. And if you want to get deeper into emotional processing, figuring out how to raise your own state naturally, and feeling good without external validation, without needing a good paycheck, without needing a high five for having pretty makeup, without any of that stuff. You want to feel worthy. You want to feel magnetic just because you are. It's your time to work with me. If you feel it, you feel it. And you can DM me on Instagram, click the link in my bio, DM me love, whatever feels most comfortable for you. And if this episode was valuable and you really appreciate it, definitely I appreciate the podcast reviews, the likes, the shares, the subscribes. This helps me reach other people who really could use that boost as well. If everybody felt really good in themselves, we would have zero problems in this world. If everybody was in love with themselves, imagine the friends you'd have, and imagine the incredible things that this world would create. So definitely share with a friend, and I will see you next time. Bye.